Welcome to this meeting of the Town Council. Please have the outstanding.
Are we standing? I'm not. Oh, I don't need to. I'm in.
The Qualities Act.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the extraordinary meeting of the Town Council. Please be seated. Notice of meeting. This meeting has been called in accordance with Schedule 12, paragraph 9(1) of the Local Government Act 1972. Public notice of the meeting is given in accordance with Schedule 12, paragraph 10(2) of that Act. Agenda 1. Apologies for absence. To receive and resolve upon apologies for inability to attend.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting. We've had apologies this evening from Councillors Abbott and Bolton, who are both lacking.
I propose to receive those apologies, please. Councillor Harston, seconded. Councillor Cotton. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? 2. Declaration of interest. To declare any interest which members have in the following agenda items. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to declare that I do know both the people who have come to apply for the co-option this evening.
Thank you. Councillor Wilde.
I'm Michelle Hahn from the Royal Hotel where I've gone to the RNIT events.
Thank you very much. Any other declarations? No? Agenda item 3. Public participation. Standing orders will be suspended for 15 minutes to allow for questions or statements submitted by members of the public, limited to 3 minutes per person. Yes, sir.
Just wanted to come up and make a point. On May 1st, we've got local elections through the country. And that's no disregard to rules on the council now, or wants to stand co-opted. Isn't it about time, though, that the public would give me an opportunity to have their say was actually on this council, which deems to make a difference to the town? It's about time there was a proper election for people. I'm not being disrespectful to anybody who wants to be co-opted on, but it's about time we have a proper democratic election for this council. That's what we need. The other point I'd like to make now is the shambles of this bridge being closed on the weekend and the amount of people that's just driving across it. Could the council see that somehow it's managed properly? Because it's annoying for locals who have to stick to the rules when people are just coming in willy-nilly just driving across the bridge and doing as they like it. But sorry about the point about the election, but I just feel about that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. We'll make sure we pass that on to the business. Thank you, sir.
Does anyone else wish to speak? No? Thank you very much. We move on to agenda item 4. Co-option of councillors for Westcliff and North Wards. The council has advertised for the 2 current vacancies, one for Westcliff Ward and one for North Ward. Clark, correct me if there have been, we've now got one valid application for Westcliff and one for North Ward.
Yes, that's correct, Chair. The candidate, Hazel Margaret Peters, withdrawn from the process, and we have Sarah Blackwell and Michelle Hall here this evening. Thank you, Chair.
Colleagues, statements from the candidates are included in the papers for this meeting, and candidates will be given the opportunity to make a short speech and answer questions from councillors. So, Sarah Blackwell, would you like to speak? Thank you.
Oh, I probably don't need mine, I'm quite right. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for receiving my application and the vote today. So the reason why I'm here and the reason why I'd like to become a councillor is because I care about this town, about the community, the people, the businesses, everything about it. I've lived here, I was born here, I still live here, lived here and around the surrounding area all my life. I've grown up with people here, I was educated here, spent time socialised with people. I still work here. I work all over the country really, but I still work at the Whitby Leisure Centre, so I'm engaging with the community all the time. A lot of my friends have businesses in the area, so I have a vested interest, and I genuinely care about preserving Whitby's heritage, the communities, the people that are visiting, everything about it I want to try and preserve and strengthen or grow the community and the place itself, all for the good, basically. You know, I mean, I can't, when I walk past, I can't help it, when I walk past, say, the Whitby train station, and I see the rubbish, I can't help but get sort of, it affects me, you know, everything like that affects me. But if I speak to a local person and a younger person and have to move away because they can't afford a house here, that affects me. All these things, you know, tourists that, you know, try and preserve what makes it so special, but at the same time trying to really grow our economy, our communities, everything like that. That's what matters to me. And we have some amazing people that live here, some amazing businesses who want to try and encourage that sort of sense of community. So yeah, so basically I work, what I feel like I can bring to the council is I've got lots of experience in business and marketing. I've worked in several Whitby businesses. I've worked at the Magpie Cafe, I've worked at the Whitby Bookshop for many years. And I work currently at the Leisure Centre, teaching bottle pump on Saturday morning. If anyone wants to join, feeling fit. So I'm constantly engaged in residents on the West Cliff. I used to live on John Street, so I really understand about the parking issues and everything that goes with it, the noise, etc., etc. And the other thing that I care very strongly about is sort of supporting local businesses as well. I think they're really important, and also helping young people in this town. So there's a few things there that I really, really sort of want to bring to the table. My business experience, I currently work for a company called LEAD, which is Linking the Environment and Farming. So I've got the rural link as well, and I also work for Marks and Spencer's. So hopefully I can bring some marketing. I've got a postgrad degree in digital marketing, if anyone is interested in raising our profile on social media and engaging with the community. And I'm really keen on raising, what the gentleman pointed out, raising our presence, if that's the right word, in the local community, maybe engaging with people via those channels. So that's the kind of thing that I could bring. So yeah, I'm open to any questions or scrutiny.
Any questions, councillors? Good. Councillor Lehman.
Can I ask what do you think about the projects such as the Maritime Hub?
So, the Maritime Hub, I think the concept is a great idea. I wasn't overly impressed with the look and feel of the building. I didn't think it was in keeping with the town, if I'm being totally honest. However, I completely understand that there was a need to spend money and, you know, the idea of it. Yeah, would I have made it like that? Potentially not, but that's just my opinion. But I think it potentially could be very good for the town. And I haven't seen it in the flesh yet, as nobody has, so I'm quite happy to be proven wrong on how it looks.
Councillor Coffin.
Two questions.
Yeah.
Can you get the leisure centre to upgrade the place, clean the place?
Oh my word, I would love to.
Get rid of the buckets in the gym.
Yeah.
And what was that? To advertise we have two brand new tennis courts. And all I've got is a tennis ball and a racket stuck on the wall. No idea of pricing or anything like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely, lovely. If I could wave a magic wand and redo the street, I mean, it hasn't been touched. I'm 45 nearly, and it's not been redone in my lifetime.
And everywhere else has.
Yeah, and
That's a
I
question,
completely
Vicky.
get
What do you think
that.
of the toilet?
Absolutely, I'll see what I can do. I'll have a word with my employer. Was there another question? Was that? Was it?
No, that was it.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. Certainly agree with all of those points.
Yes.
Councillor Knoll.
Thank you. Would you say that you enjoy a challenge?
I've just recently been made redundant from Anglo-American. That was before I worked for Marks and Spencer's. I've worked for ICL Bowlby. I've worked for many challenging businesses. I love a challenge. I'm not afraid of a challenge either.
you've come to the right
Well,
place.
that's a must.
I am opinionated, but I am fair. You know, yeah. So I will listen to everybody and I am fair and I'll give my opinion, but you know, I'm hopefully don't force it on people. But yes, I do like a challenge.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks everybody.
Michelle, would you like to?
I don't know how I'm going to follow that one. It's just a lot more hours. So I just would like to thank you for having us here today, and if I could just tell you a little bit about myself first, if that would be okay. So I'm originally from Whitby, born on the east side, and spent a lot of time here in the early days, but my parents moved to Newcastle, which is probably what you can hear, and got that accent. And I spent over 40 years of my life working in Newcastle. They're in the hospitality industry, in senior management and finance, but always come back to it because I still had family for a long time. My grandparents are still here, so I still travel back and what have you. But my ultimate goal 5 years ago was to retire and buy and come back and not work. So that was my plan. It was always my life plan was to always come back. This is where I'm from, this is where I'm passionate about, and this is where I want to be. So just over a year ago, I met a gentleman and resigned from my post with the Ken Group. And I was delivering a bit of a budget up in Newcastle, and one of the managers said, "Oh, here you resigning after 30 years." And I said, "Yes, I'm moving back to Whitby. I've bought a property in Whitby and I'm going to go back and live there. I want to work there. I want to try and do something in the community, try and work for volunteer. I didn't really think I was going to work as I did. So I got a phone call from a gentleman from Harrogate who owns the Royal Hotel on the West Cliff. And he said, "I've heard on the grapevine you resigned and I'm keen to get a manager for the hotel, would you?" And it was like fate. It was just like, I couldn't believe that I'd met this guy who was offering us the top job in this hotel to run the refurbishment for 5 years, and I have signed a 5-year plan, even though I'm in my 60s. You'll probably see that from seeing how old I am. So when I came back, I've been back just over a year. I bought a lovely property on Church Street. I work really hard in the hotel, the refurbishment's coming on really well. But I want to do a little bit more for the community, which is what I love. I love Whitby, always have, and I want to be able to contribute something to the local people. I feel I could do that quite well, and that's why I'm here. I think the council is a great place to start, and that's where I'm at anyway. I've joined I'm trying to join the Lions, I'm trying to get into like community groups and just do a little bit more than I do up the road, and I do a good job there, and I feel I could do an equally good job on the council. So that's a little bit about where I am, because I think maybe said a lot of what not a person, I'm never going to give a fire out. Do my best, and that's just who I am. I'm quite nervous, and I'm not really a nervous person. But it's just a bit. Anyway, that's me, and I'm also open to any questions. I'll do my best to answer, obviously, if I can.
Any questions, councillors? Councillor Lane.
Don't ask the same question
About the maritime group. I'm of the same opinion, very much of the same opinion. I'm 50-50. I probably don't know all I need to know about that. But yeah, I wasn't keen on the same kind of things, what it was going to be, how it was going to look and things. So I'm not going to lie, I've just, I'll always be honest, that's the main thing.
Councillor Crawford.
The Royal Hotel is looking fabulous.
Oh, you know what? It's just
Fantastic.
I know I'm probably going to grab it on a little bit, you'll probably have to tell us to be quiet, but when I came here, it was a Shearing's hotel, and I worked for 30 years for the Ken Hotel Group, and I ran the Royal Station Hotel in Newcastle, just
office is the city. It was very cooperating, it was very much for the business, and I'm quite good at finance and things like that. So when I came here, we've done things like, we didn't have some, and little things like Sunday lunches, like events, weddings, things like that. So not only are we refurbishing the building to a really high standard, and I would love people to come and have a look, but the revenue has just increased massively in the last 14 months, just through a good forward thinking of business and how to get things together and how to do things. So they're really happy, and it is wonderful up there. We are spending a lot of money, it's taking a lot of time. And I think the only controversial thing that will happen up there is the colour of the building when it eventually is painted. So it's still under massive discussion, but I think that's going to be a big talking point with the council.
So what shade?
It's what shade of paint. I don't even think it's going to, it's just, at one point he said to me, I want this flamboyant flamingo pink, I said it'll never wash. But it's coming on really well. And it's hard work, I'm not going to lie, it's hard work. I put a lot of hours in it there, and it's going to be fabulous, it's going to be great. Anyway, it's nice to meet everybody.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we now move to the vote. We have now, how many councillors are here now? Have we got?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
13.
So 7.
We have to have for a candidate to be successfully co-opted, at least 7 councillors will need to vote in favour. Any councillors who abstain, that will count against the numbers. So, first of all, shall we have with Sarah Blackwell?
May I ask what I'm a secret ballot, like we did last time?
Because no one has asked for a secret ballot. Are you asking for a secret?
No, I'm just wondering why you were letting that last time.
Do we have a proposer for Sarah Blackwell?
Yeah.
Councillor Cochran, seconder, Councillor Wilde. All those in favour of co-opting Sarah Blackwell onto the council, raise your hands now. Against? Abstentions? Thank you. Do we have a proposer for Michelle Hall? Councillor Mulhern. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Laney. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Thank you. I can confirm then that Sarah Blackwell and Michelle Hall have been co-opted onto Whitby Town Council as councillors. We will take a short break if you'd like to sign your agenda item 5. Local Government Review, North Yorkshire Boundary Consultation. The attached report updates the Council on the outcome of the consultation and provides a draft submission for Council to consider.
I think we covered it, Chair, to be honest with you, so I would include you to take any question or comments on the floor.
Any questions on the consultation paper? Yes, please.
In the final stage of consultation on the county council, new county council divisions, the Commission listened to us in the first stage and they're recommending exactly what we recommended to them. So it's for us to support their recommendations at this final stage, supporting what we recommended to them in the first stage, and it just completes the whole process.
Right. So the motion would be that... Oh, sorry, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to say I would move the motion to approval of this report, because, and also thanking Councillor Harston for the work lot of work in that, and I think it's much appreciated by everyone.
Thank you. Any other councillors wish to comment? No? Sorry,
I
Councillor.
just want to thank Councillor Harson because he put a lot of work into that, and it is a good job. Thank you.
So we have a proposal from Councillor Turnbull. We have a seconder. Councillor Knott. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Thank you. Agenda item 6, Town Clerk Report. Do you wish to?
Briefly, Chair, thank you very much. Yes, so I've set out here the key work that's going on at the moment within the council programme, progress made against work previously indicated. Just to briefly pick up the main points within the report, our Assistant Town Clerk starts on this Thursday, the 1st of May, and we are taking steps to manage any potential conflicts of interest around their current role as a North Yorkshire Council. So very mindful of that, and we proactively approach the monitoring officer and also conducting our own procedures around managing any conflicts of interest with that post. Very important that we do that and the public see that that is happening. But in the meantime, great to have the person on board. Can't wait for them to start. Thursday can't come soon enough. Thank you. Secondly, we've just welcomed Michelle and Sarah to the council, so both co-options confirmed. Thank you, everyone. Christmas lights, as explained there, the tenders on the Contract Finder website. We've had quite a lot of informal interest expressed, and as I say, once those tenders are received, that will convene a Christmas lights subcommittee to consider the applications received and make any recommendations to full council. The award of the tender, because of the contract size, will be a decision of full council, and we'll have a meeting to determine that. Public Convenience Working Group have met twice. A lot going on within the group around financial controls, door entry options, the income position, and the information we've had from our contractor. And we'll be providing a report to the full council meeting on the 13th of May, so council can determine the next steps for the working group. BEJ, as we discussed with council, the council is taking a number of steps on BEJ. We're not doing the emergency of that on agreement because, as council has said, that more time we needed for that, and that determined our input. But there are a number of things going on, including a display within the gallery. We've also done a funding application for larger funding for through-the-year activities relating to the 1945 80th anniversary, and if the funding application is successful, we'll be gathering a lot of information, memories, working with the museum, and also holding a street party to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the end of the war. So let's hope that Helen's work on that application is successful. The closing date for that is Sunday. So we're hoping to hear very soon, and it's basically done. She's done a brilliant job. And we're also very mindful with our new ATC will take this up, that the Armed Forces Day this year will be an opportunity to also celebrate the 80th anniversary, so we're looking to do that during that event. Update on the flood, all the work's done now, claims sent to loss adjuster and funds about to be received. Reception staff being trained, putting more information on our website, so slowly that is beginning to be used more, and we will do more work in the months ahead. And we're also working very hard, of course, it is the financial year end with the AGAR meeting before the end of June. We'll work before then on the internal audit. I've also briefly done some looking ahead. I'm in conversation, I'm having a meeting with the association, Deborah, helping us with our training, and also, by the way, for our two new councillors, there is a new councillor course that the association do, so I'll be letting you know about that and see if you want to take part in that. But there's more broader training for the council being organised through the association, more details to follow. We'll also be, as we've talked about before, be agreeing a priority list for the remaining 2 years of the council, based upon reading the motions passed by council, the things we've committed to, and then anything else council wishes to consider. But those priorities will be set by this group, by a vote of this group as a whole. In Old Town Hall, people would have seen that the work on renovation is proceeding within the town, and North Yorkshire Council will soon be moving on to looking at the future of the building and convening a group of which this town council will be part to consider that. The Harbour Court case, everyone's aware of the result of that, and we will be providing opportunity for further discussion at the full council meeting. We're waiting for the full response of North Yorkshire Council before setting that meeting up. And double devolution is going ahead. I know there was some rather confusing information on the North Yorkshire website about this, but we've all had that clarified now, both residents and councillors. And again, they will be coming to a meeting in the summer to confirm our next steps on double devolution. And then we're also talking next item, Council Chair, about the annual meeting and policy reviews we'll be doing in the following months. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy to take questions or feedback. Thank you.
Any questions? Councillor Knott.
Firstly, quite frankly, I find it disturbing that the clerk tells us in his report that he has now been confirmed in his post. I think that you should have told us this as soon as the appointment was made. Going through these in no particular order, it would be a great help if we could know on a weekly basis what days the clerk is going to be in the office and what days working from home. And it would also be useful if we could have a telephone contact for him for those days when he is not working in the office. As far as the harbour is concerned, I hope Sue Boyce will forgive me for mentioning this, but she gave a wonderful address to the Harbour Committee a few weeks ago, showing that she was absolutely master of her subject. And you were asked at the time that Sue would be given the opportunity to address full council at the earliest available opportunity. Now I know that there's a view that we are waiting to see what North Yorkshire Council is going to do. They have been denied the opportunity to appeal to the courts, so they're going direct to the Court of Appeal. It could take months before anything materialises in the way of documentation that we can talk about. And so I would again.
We should know by the end of this week, or at least this month. They're well over the date. We're waiting for confirmation from North Yorkshire's solicitors that it's over. That's it.
Okay, as you wish. I do think it would be benefit to council if they knew what she had to say. That aside, turning to Christmas lights, did we not spend £5,000 on new lights a few years ago, which spent all day Christmas waiting in demurrage? And I noticed that the new contract says that the contractor, or the invitation to the contract says that the contractor must supply, install and remove all rented lights. So what happened to the £5 worth of lights that we bought? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'm happy to take all of those questions in turn. In terms of my days in the office, I'm in the office every Tuesday to Friday. And in terms of the phone, yes, we will arrange through the HR committee that I will now be given my phone. I think it's essential that I have one, and later arrangements will be taken forward and I think will be agreed by the HR committee.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I ask you to move the microphone a bit further away from the
Sorry. Yeah, no, that's fine. Is that better? Okay, so I'm here every Tuesday to Friday, and we're getting a mobile phone for me now. That's been agreed by the HR committee with my probation period being completed successfully. In terms of the harbour, I completely agree with you, Council, not being regular liaison with North Yorkshire Council. They are clear that we want the update, including their updates, to happen as soon as possible. They are aware of that, and we do hope to have that meeting happen as soon as possible. But it's like being in North Yorkshire Council's hands about that, but I'm trying to get it to happen as soon as possible. And in terms of the Christmas lights, it's a good question about I'll see what I can find out. Obviously, this goes slightly back into the mists of time, because I believe the current 3-year arrangement was also to supply and install the lighting. So I presume the £5,000 lights goes back previous to the 3-year arrangement that we just finished, but we'll see what we can find out. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarity, can I just ask, have we got anything actually going on VE Day? I appreciate you said that Helen's applied for funding so we can move forward and celebrate. Have we got anything on the actual day?
Yeah, it's going to be, there will be a display in the gallery for the
sorry.
will be installed in time for the
Sorry, I couldn't hear that, but...
So there'll be a display in the gallery.
That is what's going on the day. Thank you.
Councillor Riddles. Just a few things. Firstly, the town assembly. Last year at the AGM, it was decided that the town assembly will be put on a fixed date. Now, we've now got the town assembly that's going to be on after the AGM, which, to be honest, quite frankly, is rather stupid because you can't then, if people have got ideas and things they want to discuss before the AGM, they can't discuss it at the town assembly. And as we decided that we would have a fixed date, can I be assured that next year we will have a fixed date before the AGM and it will be put on the diary when we put the rest of the meetings up. Because that's what we said we would do. We haven't done it.
Okay, that's noted. That's correct, is it? Will we agree a fixed date for the town assembly?
Councillor Riddles said it is there.
Okay. I think there isn't in the last year's annual meeting that's not what's in the minutes of that meeting. But if that's the situation,
It was brought back to the council and the council agreed this.
okay, we can do that.
Further to that, when you consider the cost of the Christmas lights, quite a few people have come up to me and suggested, do we need them at the expense there? Because it's the cost of the people with it. I'm not, but it's not necessarily my personal opinion. I've just been asked to bring it to the meeting that we should consider not doing Christmas lights because of the cost. I think, Councillor Riddles, we've already inferred that a full council meeting would be to make a decision on Christmas lights. So, if the council at that meeting wishes to say they don't wish to have a tender, then there won't be any Christmas lights. I think it should be discussed. Well, it will be discussed. I would imagine when it comes to that meeting, we will have a discussion about the cost of the Christmas lights, and therefore a decision will be taken whether or not to spend that amount of money. If we don't spend that amount of money, then there won't be any Christmas lights.
Good point.
And just finally, hasn't the double devolution been abolished, abandoned?
No. It's been clarified. I've had it clarified. Others have had it clarified too. It's still going ahead.
That's a snip.
Yes, I noticed on the Christmas lights we've considerably increased the number of Christmas lights. So are we anticipating that that's going to increase in cost to us? For example, Church Streets, we have no lamppost icons at all. I believe there's 7 now.
The list of lights within the tender is based upon what has happened in the past. But at the same time, it's an indicative list for the bidders, and any negotiation with the contractor will determine whether ultimately lights will go. It's not a list that, it's a list for guidance really, rather than this is absolutely what will happen.
That's a house.
Yeah, and I just follow up on Adam's work schedule. You said you couldn't Tuesday to Friday. Is it 9 o'clock start? What time do you finish? What's your hours?
My hours are 8:30 to 4:30.
And you keep them 4 days?
Yes.
What about Mondays?
Mondays the building is closed to the public, and so the custom and practice here, and it's in everybody's contract of employment, that the staff can work from home on Mondays because the building is closed.
Thank you. Any more questions? No? Can we have a proposer to receive the clerk's report, please? Councillor Lehman, seconded Councillor Cochran. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? Agenda item 7, preparation for the annual meeting and forward plan. Ahead of the annual meeting on the 13th of May, the report is attached that one sets out the matters to be covered at this meeting and asks council for information ahead of the meeting, and secondly explains how some key reviews of the council's documents and policies will be taken forward and the process to consider the outcomes of the audit objection.
Thank you, Chair. I hope I've mastered this microphone now. So please do let me know if I'm not mastering it. Thank you.
That's much better.
I thought it was really important to give as much clarity to all councillors as possible about all the processes happening around the annual meeting. I know this isn't the first annual meeting of this council. I think it's still really helpful to provide that clarity. And also by making this a public report, that provides that public clarity and transparency about our processes as well, which I also think is a helpful thing to do. So to take them in the order that I've done them, obviously, as always, as is legally required, the first thing the annual meeting always has to do is to elect a mayor, and as per standing orders and policy, that's, all eligible candidates need to be nominated and seconded, and then there'll be a vote to determine who has the most votes from eligible candidates who have been nominated and seconded. And that will be the first thing that happens at the meeting, as usual. Another thing we must do at the meeting is determine our meeting dates for the year. So again, I'm showing, so what I've done here, as you can see on page 2, is all the meetings in 24-25 are down the left-hand side, and all the dates proposed, effectively matching those meetings, are down the right-hand side. So that is the date of meetings that will come for council to be considered. Councillors are free to amend that at the meeting should they wish. I'm also, since this paper was circulated, I've had a request to show how monthly meetings of full council will be possible. So we are also putting together a list of meeting dates that show monthly full councils. That will require a reduction in the number of other meetings and committees, because with the resources that we can't have any more meetings than we currently have. But we will, so basically, in a nutshell, there are 7 full council meetings shown here, as was again agenda for this year. So we will put 5 more full councils on what I would call list B, and we'll remove 5 committee meetings to make those 5 full councils possible. And then councillors can choose between those 2 options at the meeting. Okay, Chair, I'll keep going. Fourthly, we will also confirm and determine the committee memberships for each of the committees for the year. And obviously for our 2 new councillors, there'll be the opportunity to join any committees that they wish to join. And again, we'll cover that more in our informal meeting next week to make sure we're clear about what you might want to do. But what you see on the document now is each committee, the number of councillors, the maximum number of councillors that we have according to the terms of reference agreed by full council, the current members and substitutes for that committee, including numbers, so you can see how that works in relation to the numbers that are allowed. And what I've asked each councillor to do is basically what will be presented on the 13th of May is this list, unless councillors have indicated they wish to change it. In other words, if any councillors wish to come off something, it would be helpful to know that before the meeting. And similarly, if councillors wish to add to something, again, help to know in advance, because then we'll be able to bring to the meeting and effectively a proposed list for the year. But the list will effectively be current position, minus changes, plus changes, new position, and that's what the council will be asked to vote on. Have I explained that all right? Well, I see Councillor Elizabeth saying.
That's not how we've done committees in the past. As of the beginning of the new year, everyone is off the council, off the committees.
Yes.
We put all new members down. So
yes.
If you're on a committee, you have to start from scratch again.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not being disrespectful, but just in terms of process, we will process. I will, if a councillor wishes to change their position year on year, it would be helpful if they indicate that will be shown in the paperwork. On the night, we'll actually do the vote, and if councillors don't wish to be on a committee, they won't be on it. Or if they wish to be considered for it, they can be considered. But this is just the most a sensible and reasonably smooth way, if you like, of ensuring we go year by year. I completely understand all the appointments are just for the year, and then at every annual meeting we vote the appointments again. I'm just explaining the papers that will be brought to the meeting to enable you to do that and how they will be determined. But the meeting can make any changes it wishes to on the night as well, so you will always end up with that fresh position.
Just go back to the procedure. You normally have a deputy now as well.
Yes, that's quite correct.
That's okay. Just answer my
So that is how the committees and subcommittees will be done. So essentially, councillors, think about what changes you would like for yourselves, and either indicate those in advance of the meeting or make sure they're clear at the meeting. Councillor Hurst.
So if a councillor doesn't indicate any committee placements, is it assumed that they are not changing, or is it assumed that they are starting from zero?
It is you have to assume one or t'other. So for the purpose of this exercise, we will present information as, saying if no change has been indicated, we don't expect a change to be made. But the council is free to indicate that is not correct at the meeting as well, so we will end up with a correct list of everyone's application.
Councillors may recall at previous meetings when councillors were asked to submit in advance their nominations for committees. Some councillors said that they had submitted their nominations and the clerk had not received them, and therefore their names were knocked down for committees. This actually will prevent that, because the fail-safe is for councillors to say if they no longer wish to be put forward for the committee that they're on. So if a councillor takes no action, they will be considered as applying for the same committees that they are currently on at the moment.
And considering them,
What could possibly go
more than the 7, 8, 9,
We go to the vote.
everybody
Yes, absolutely. No one has priority treatment, but it will mean there won't be any councillors who said, I submitted a nomination for this and it hasn't gone. Councillor Smith.
Can I just clarify, like for myself, that came up later after the AGM, not very often, and say, I was asked to leave councillors out, so do we need to submit which committees we wish to go to?
Yes.
It would be very helpful to have that ahead of the meeting if that's possible.
I would also recommend that if any councillors wish to withdraw from a committee that they are currently on, it will be helpful to the clerk if they notify that in advance of the meeting, so that the committee membership at the AGM is the most accurate one that we know up to that date. But as the clerk has said, it can be changed at the council meeting itself.
Would it be helpful if we notify to our two new members exactly what is entailed within the quite impressive list of committees that we have?
That is already in hand. I am making arrangements to meet with the new councillors to talk through what each committee does involve.
Okay, thank you very much.
The blind lead in the blind.
Just wanted to
What does that
Just one thing on the mayor situation. Once for a better word, and then are we going to have any listeners? Or are we just going to vote?
Yes, so I think it would be sensible and good practice, as very much with this evening, that anyone who is nominated to be mayor or deputy mayor will be given the opportunity to speak to the meeting and will be given the opportunity to take any questions from the meeting. That's not quite as, to be clear, that as for tonight, we're talking about a reasonably brief statement and a sensible number of questions, if that makes sense. We're not asking people to produce any materials or do videos or PowerPoint or 20-minute presentations or anything else for that matter. But I think it's really sensible to give the candidates an opportunity to say why they wish to be there and to take questions from council. Yes, we're going to do that today. Right, Chair. I'll move on to note under this part as well that councils would have seen a motion passed by the Harbour Committee making a recommendation for full council to consider regarding membership of the Harbour Committee, and that will be considered at this annual meeting as well. Alright, so moving on to the next page, which is about outside body appointments. And again, the same approach will be taken here. I'm circulating this in advance of the meeting. I'll circulate this in advance of the meeting. I'll take questions in a second. I'll circulate this in advance of the meeting so that councillors have an opportunity to see the current position and indicate ahead of the 30th of May if they'd like to not be doing any of the things listed below, or if they're interested in taking any of those things on. Again, that does not predetermine the outcome of the meeting. The meeting will determine the outcome at the meeting, if that makes sense. But in terms of process, it would be helpful to understand if any councillors listed here no longer wish to undertake any of these outside body responsibilities, and also helpful to know if there are any councillors who wish to be on any outside bodies that aren't currently listed there. And then again, as has been covered under the committee arrangements, we will effectively start with a blank sheet of paper, and if there are more people than places, there will be votes to determine the person in the meeting. Councillor Smith, you're waiting patiently.
It's okay. I just wanted to point out that the councils need to be aware that if they opt to be a representative on Whitby Bloom, they are considered a corporate trustee by the Charities Commission. Because councils haven't been made any issues.
Okay, we'll make sure that people are aware of that again. That's helpful to remind us. Thank you. Okay, so that's really all of the elections and appointments that will happen at the annual meeting on the 13th of May. I've then gone on the rest of the report to cover the policy reviews and audit rejections. What I'm setting out here is a programme of work to undertake a more thorough review of all of the policies that are listed here in this document over the course of the next civic year. And I think it's really important to do that work, and I think it will help to strengthen the council, strengthen confidence in the council, and also help councils to make sure that, to help them to where necessary to deepen understanding of some of these requirements and documents, get necessary training, but also feel confident and happy with everything they're being asked to do and everything they're being asked to follow. So I think it's a really helpful process that we'll be doing during the 25-26 year. In the light of that, I'm suggesting, that this obviously is the council to decide, that therefore the May 25 annual meeting will be bringing the current versions of these documents to be agreed for the year ahead, on the understanding that this review will take place. At the same time, though, final point, crucially, that does not prevent any councillor proposing any changes to those documents. So if you wish to make changes to documents now, you can. They will be motions to be considered at this annual meeting. So it doesn't stop people saying that any changes we want now, but there will be a full review of them over the year ahead, and the version brought to the annual meeting will be the current version of documents. Through you, Chair, how to extend it all right.
I noticed here that the terms of reference schemes delegation will be considered by the FPGP committee. Would it not be better for each individual committee to discuss what they would like to see within their changes and then submit those?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea in terms of process. I think what I was making clear, I suppose, is in terms of almost like the scrutiny process, that FPGP will effectively scrutinise all of those current arrangements and then make recommendations to full council, and then full council will determine any changes. But I agree, getting input from the individual committees is a good idea. Absolutely. Okay, Chair, if there's no more questions on that bit.
So just fact checking when you were saying about drawing up the list for monthly meetings.
Yes.
I should have said it at the time. There are certain committees that don't take that much time to go through. I mean, we're certainly not taking the same amount of time as a normal council. and you say we've got to restrict the number of meetings. Well, certain of those committees could actually be done one after another on a Tuesday, rather than having them done separately. Because for the time we've got from 6 till 9, haven't we? We could certainly get 2 committee meetings, certain committee meetings, not all, but certain ones could be done one after the other, because we've got that time span on a Tuesday to do that.
I think that councils need to be mindful of the staffing resource that they have, how large that staffing resource is, and what hours are actually available to the work. Councils can have, if you like, as many meetings as they want, in theory, but I think putting any additional meetings, even half hours, is putting additional hours into that finite resource that you have. So if you ask that finite resource to spend more time on meetings than it currently is, there'll be less time for other work. And even doing what you suggest will create additional work. I take your point about, yes, reports for some committees are not as many as you might have for a full council, which also, which we therefore need to be doubly mindful, because if we're increasing the number of full councils, we're already increasing the workload of the team by doing that. So if we don't keep all the other things as well and start squeezing them into a night, you are increasing the workload of your team, and you're not increasing the resource size of your team. So that's why I don't think that's sensible.
But surely the running of the council and how we do it is the most important thing that we do. If we do decide having one meeting a month, and I really do believe we should, and it was always we've always had that pre-COVID, I believe, so I've been told. So we've always had a history of one full council meeting a month. Then we managed to cope. Then what's the problem? What can we say?
The issue is, when we had more council meetings, we had less committee meetings. We never had a council meeting preceded by a committee meeting. So what the clerk is saying is actually correct. If the council wishes to have more council meetings, they effectively will be saying that is a higher priority than saying having as many planning meetings as we've arranged, or FP&P meetings as we arranged. The council will make the decision what they think is the priority. Full council, more meetings, or the number of committee meetings. But yes, when we did have council meetings every year, every month, we had less committee meetings. Councillor Brown.
Can I just point out that it's not just the time involved in having that meeting, it's the time involved in making the paperwork before and after that meeting. So an extra half-hour meeting is not just an extra half-hour on Tuesday. That the paperwork before and after, and obviously our minutes are well scrutinised and only rightly so, that will have a bigger impact on the amount of time that our staff have to work actual issues, and especially if we're looking at things like double devolution, we are expecting an awful lot from our staff.
Councillor Cotton.
Yeah, we did have monthly meetings. But we've had Plan Art Gallery meetings straight after planning meetings. That's happened quite a few times.
I think in a way we're debating a subject that we haven't got the full information, because we've asked the clerk to provide the full information for the next meeting, which the AGM. When we've got that information, then we can make an informed decision rather than saying we could do this, we could do that. Let's get the information and have the discussion. Councillor Smith.
Can I just ask a question? How many extraordinary meetings have we had in this year? Because I don't think that's listed down in the...
No, they're not, because they're by their nature extraordinary. We've had 4 or 5 this year, I think. And again, we're looking to see how through this structure we may not need as many as we had this year.
That was my thinking. If we were having a council meeting once a month, and as much as that, it would only be extraordinary meeting.
That's enough.
Just going back, if I may, to outside body appointments, I've just had it confirmed to me by Councillor Anderson is that she's a trustee of Whitby Blue.
I'm a trustee, I'm not a corporate trustee. I'm a trustee in my own right, not as a corporate trustee.
Right.
She's not a council representative, Julia. She's a trustee independently.
Right.
That's why her name's not on this.
Is Councillor Steve Smith in the same position?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So, through you, Chair, just
Yeah.
to complete the last bit, if that's okay. So again, I thought it was really important to, if that part, to remind us all that our auditors have been busy beavering away, looking at the various audit objections that have been sent to them. And once their process is complete, there may be recommendations or other matters for council to consider. And we'd like to get that done, if possible, by the time of our June full council, because it will make it easier in terms of process to get it done by the time we do the next AGAR statement, because that will help how we put that in. But that will simply determine how the auditors are progressing with that work. And liaison is taking place with the auditors, and when there is further definitive news for council, that will be shared with you all. But also I think it's worth saying that we're very mindful of the fact that this building on the work we've done this year, basically implementing the recommendations made by auditors from their previous investigations around considering the level of reserves for the sector budget and making sure charity commissions returns are made on time, and both those things have happened this year. So I anticipate potentially a similar process where there may well be ultimately some more recommendations for the council to consider and then actions to be taken based upon those recommendations. So the outcome of that audit objection process is going to be a critical part of our work in the week and months ahead. We don't have anything ready for you guys yet, but there will be things for the council to consider. It's going to be a key part of our work over the months ahead. That's why it's in this report, so that we're all very mindful of that. Okay, thank you, Chair. Take the last question or comments from you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions to the Town Clerk on the preparation for the annual meeting and the forward plan? I think it's been made perfectly clear, even though we're asking for information in advance, the final decisions correctly will be made at the annual general meeting by full council. Any information provided in advance is to facilitate a smooth AGM. The decisions will be made there and then. Any questions, comments? If not, can I have a proposal just to receive this report? Councillor Turner, seconder. Councillor, they have Councillor Brown this time. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions? No? Well, thank you very much, colleagues. I now declare this extraordinary council meeting